This little church of St. Lawrence I would sometimes celebrate when coming to Ireland back from Italy. And St. Lawrence, whose feast it is now coming over this 24 hours, is somebody to be looked up to in our ancient past. Had he lived, probably he would have become Pope. He was the Archdeacon of Rome, and he was given special treatment when the Pope Sixtus II and the other deacons were arrested in the catacombs and eventually martyred. He was kept apart because they thought he'd have the money. But he'd given the money to the poor, and he presented the poor to them, and here are the treasures of the church, he said to the authorities, and they weren't amused. And we know the consequences. He was slowly but surely roasted alive on a gridiron. The phrase "happy as Larry" is still used. It may come from his own cheerfulness, for at one point in the slow execution, he calmly said to the executioner, "You can turn me over now. I'm done on this side." Fire has been the means of execution of many. I was moved when, at 17, I was sent to Rouen for a month, and there discovered again St. Joan of Arc. It was a Protestant I got to know. We had her life in Welsh at home, and she was something else. A Pucelle, the little damsel who looked for the true heir to the throne of France, Le Dauphin, and driven by heaven, managed to actually avoid what would become Protestantism in France. Had France remained under England, down the line we would have had in France the influence of Protestantism far more. But she too, at the age of 19, was burned. Terrible, slow death. And Dominican held out the cross to her and was faithful to her to the end. Fire, it's something also which has positive connotations. We have the miracle of Bethania in Venezuela, the host already transformed into visible flesh and blood, but which then was seen to be on fire with the flames of the love of God, the Sacred Heart, caught on camera. And then, some years ago, I was moved by another phenomenon of fire. Not the one that tried to get the Curé Vase in his bed, of course propelled by Old Nick, but another which may well also have been propelled by Old Nick, that which mysteriously happened in the Cathedral of Turin, where the Holy Shroud was being very well preserved and kept. A massive conflagration, one wonders where it came from. And it was doomed. There was no way that it could be got out. So well protected was it. But then, after it was all over, on the main television channel of Italy, Rai Uno, came this young fireman who said what happened. He gave testimony that he had felt a supernatural force propelling him to go into the heart of the blaze and giving him supernatural strength to do what humanly was impossible, to break open the defense of the Holy Shroud so it could be got out. More than 50 million people saw this. It was a young man, like any other, who testified to the power of our God, the fire of love, therefore, who wishes the well of his creatures. Quite amazed by Turin's fireman's report, when news is long in coming and stale facts at last can blast the cloister, what are these large eyeballs made to see mid frigid acts of calm collected writing, histories of human moves all made, weighed by the line of reason's placid smile? What noise of day lies buried on the page, where markings fine mark traces of a God upon our way? O testimony of a common man that climbed to save his king, what thing is this that shoved thy frightened leaping, as none can push, pull, or tap in time, for time to miss was none, where burned the singeing of our hours in raiment meant to stand all cosmic powers. All the saints from their nameless rest, only by faith before the Lord confessed, thy name,
Jesus is forever blessed. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Amen, thy Son, yes, faithful, true, and good, right as the saints who know grateful to God, and win with them the victor's crown of gold.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Oh, blessed crown you There is an old stone in the church grounds linked with St. Lawrence. It's been brought here from a long way away from Oldcastle, and there's a tradition behind it. Those who have trouble with their back come here and plead with St. Lawrence for healing and extend themselves on this old stone. Ireland is full of history. It's a land where the past and the present are intertwined.